This is a career best performance, dual performance from Rachel Weisz. It's just brilliant. Hey everyone, welcome back to Candid Cinema. I'm Amanda, otherwise known as AMX NDA Reviews on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. Today I will be reviewing Dead Ringers, the television series, which will be on Amazon Prime April 21st, this Friday, and I highly recommend it if you are into disturbing psychological thrillers. I'm opening with that because that's literally what this is. So, what many of you may not know is that Dead Ringers was actually based on the book, which is called Twins: Dead Ringers, written by Bari Wood, who also has writing credits for this series, which is awesome. So the perfect way to kind of describe this television series is that it takes the body horror visuals from David Cronenberg, who did a phenomenal job in that at the time that it came out, especially. So if you're into like body horror, there are some elements of that in this television series. So there's a little bit of that. The color palette's roughly the same. The production design's roughly the same from Dead Ringers, but it's a more extravagant set for this clinic with these twin gynecologists played by Rachel Weisz. They end up being very codependent. They depend on each other a lot for everything, especially in relationships, and they do have some relations with their patients. So you have twins, you have Beverly, and you have Elliot. Elliot is a bit more out there. She's a bit more adventurous, the total opposite of Beverly. There is a reason why they both got into this field, and Beverly's more like reserved. Like I said, the complete opposite of Elliot, and Rachel Weisz plays both of them so incredibly well. This is a career best performance, dual performance from Rachel Weisz. It's just brilliant. So they end up sleeping with their patients. It's very obscure, but the thing is that the original twins were men. They were twin male gynecologists. One of them ended up falling in love with this beautiful movie star, and they had to deal with infertility issues at the clinic, and that's how they would kind of bring people into the clinic, these women into the clinic. They would kind of seduce them and bring them in and test their bodies with different tools and different strands of things that could alter or, cause mutation, stuff like that. They were playing with women's bodies, and that's a bit deeper into what Bari Wood did in his book. This television series is a combination of what David Cronenberg did so beautifully for the horror genre, and then what Bari Wood wrote about through, just mental health and the psychology of how people approach infertility, how they approach womanhood, but it was through more of a male lens. And that I found an issue with. And the fact that they gender swapped it with Rachel Weisz made more sense. I felt kind of like more comfortable watching them perform certain tests on women, have those discussions with women about birthing, and it's really challenging to be a woman. The more you watch this series, it's only 6 episodes, but every single episode is just jam-packed with so much information about women and womanhood and being barren, trying to have a child, and there's so many different ways to have a child. And realistically, what Elliot does, one of the twins, she finds ways to kind of create a baby in, a different womb, if you want to call it that. So she has a very scientific approach to this, and she's playing God at the end of the day because she keeps altering different things, and your morality is tested throughout. And that's why Beverly and Elliot kind of have clashing ideas of how to rightfully perform certain things on women who do want to get pregnant. But Elliot became so invested in helping her sister that she kind of lost her way, that it became like this maddening thing in Elliot to actually be able to construct an embryo that can live on its own within a womb and develop into a fully grown baby, instead of having a mother go through the pregnancy who maybe cannot go through the pregnancy, who's terrified of going through the pregnancy, who is afraid that, she might die and the baby will live, or vice versa. There's so many things. There's so many things that can go wrong with pregnancies that no one really discusses until it happens. There are miscarriages. You can find out that you are barren and then you end up getting pregnant. Like, there's so many different ways to look at this, and I think that they've explored every single avenue through the research and work that they did at these clinics. But again, it came from a woman, it came from a female doctor. I'm not saying that men can't do their job, but in regards to pregnancies and being a gynecologist, I feel more comfortable with a woman. So I think that a lot of women feel the exact same way, but to gender swap it and modernize it to this point where people are kind of afraid to talk about, very sensitive issues like abortions and even like hysterectomies or getting your tubes tied and stuff like that. It's just, people are very touchy about certain subjects, but it's the only way that women can learn, especially through this television series. I think it's very educational. First and foremost is educational. Then you have the psychological aspect where these twins are so in tune with each other. Rachel Weisz is so in tune with Rachel Weisz, okay? They're so in tune with each other that they can't live without each other. And they are just way too close for their own liking sometimes. And Beverly is kind of afraid of what Elliot's capable of because they're so different. And Beverly does want a normal life. And I think that in this series, and I'm not going to spoil what happens at the end of this, again, 6 episodes, jam-packed. There's a lot that happens, and there's such great character development for Elliot and Beverly. It's just fantastic work all around. There are some episodes where it does get like too into the scientific jargon that it will lose you a bit. There's a lot of information, but there are characters in here that do an exceptional job in kind of opening Beverly's eyes to what Elliot's doing. And like, you can trust your sibling, but there's obviously going to be parts of themselves that they're not going to fully like show to you. So I think that having that codependency, having that weird twin telepathy as well is something that is explored here, but it's a show that I could not stop watching. Like, I was ready to load up the next episode and the next episode. Yes, it's heavy. You may need to take breaks just because of everything that happens. If you don't do well with gore, I don't suggest that you watch this show. I'm going to be honest with you. If you don't do well with pregnancies, or you don't do well in like operating rooms and stuff like that, I wouldn't recommend watching this either. It's kind of heavy at the beginning, and then it gets more like into these deep conversations about what they can do at the clinic to help women who are infertile. And there's so many different options, but obviously they're tests. And that's what happens at the end of the day. You are testing these patients because you yourself as a doctor, you don't have 100% certainty. You just want to really help them. And that's what Elliot does, but it gets misconstrued because she wants to help so badly that she ends up looking like she's crazy, but she isn't. And it's out of love for her sister. So I think that the beautiful dual performance from Rachel Weisz is just exceptional. I thought the writing was really detailed, and it's hard to kind of intertwine what's happening with the characters when they're so focused on the task at hand with the research in the clinic and all of that. And there's so many patients that they have to tend to, that the balance between their personal lives and their career really just flowed into each other for some reasons, and you'll see why. And I think that's why it works so well, and that's why it was so compelling to watch, because you had these issues being integrated into their everyday conversation, and you get to know about their childhood, what people think of twins as well. It's very rare to have twins. It's rare to have like triplets. So the people that do have them, you kind of want to understand the mind of these twins if they think differently. And I think that's why there's always been studies on them as well. So Dead Ringers, the television series, which is going to be on Prime Video on April 21st, is a combination of the book by Bari Wood. So if you read that, it's definitely in this series. And if you watch Dead Ringers by David Cronenberg, there are elements that are quite similar to the film that I'm really happy that they integrated it into this series. So if you're a fan of both, you're a fan of one, I think you'll appreciate the gender swap because Rachel Weisz does a fantastic job. I will rate the series as a whole because I did watch all 6 episodes. I'm sitting at a 4 out of 5. I'm not saying that like it's bad me giving it a 4 out of 5. I wasn't totally in love with it, but I can appreciate what was said. It's very educational, it's very informative, and I think that's the most important thing to kind of generate a conversation. I don't know how comfortable people are going to be watching this kind of content on Amazon Prime. It's risky for certain people. I don't think so. I was fascinated by it. I was fascinated with the concepts that were in here. And again, I'm trying to like give you guys this review without spoiling it because there are a lot of things in here that do tie into the ending of the series, and I was in shock the final 2 episodes. I think they did a great job with this. I'm very impressed with Rachel Weisz. Give her all the awards for this dual performance. I think she was brilliant, and the gender swap is greatly appreciated. If you guys read the book by Bari Wood, let me know in the comments below. If you watched the film by David Cronenberg, let me know in the comments below. And of course, please let me know what your favorite Rachel Weisz performance is, because right now it is Dead Ringers. I'm just so in love with her. She's brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. So if you guys enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. You can always follow me over at AMX NDA Reviews on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. And if you guys want to help me grow this wonderful community, you can check out ways to do that in the bio below. I'll catch you guys next time. Keep watching movies.